Hi, everyone. Welcome to our amazing talk that we have today about integrating and coordinating with AutoCAD Plant 3D, Autodesk Construction Cloud, and Matterport. Today, I'm super lucky to be joined by our two amazing guest speakers. We have Jeremy Wallen from Autodesk and Vinicius Souza from PARS. At this point, I'll pass it on to Jeremy and Vinny to just give a short introduction about themselves. Jeremy?
Thank you so much, and great to be here. By way of introduction, I'm Jeremy. I've been with the Autodesk team for about 5 years now, and I help manage our ecosystem of integration partners, including Matterport. I work with them as they build out integrations with Autodesk Construction Cloud, and so forth. Great to be here.
Thank you so
Hello,
much. We're so
everyone.
lucky. Oh, sorry, Vinny, I just interrupted you. Please go on.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. I'm Vinicius. I work for PARS. I've been working for them for 3 years now. It's a software distributor. It's a part of the Sondo IT group located on South America, Brazil. And our major goal is to bring solutions to different kind of markets, focus on software and CAD development softwares.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You'll definitely be hearing more from our two guest speakers later on about, what value their wonderful companies bring to the table. Autodesk, obviously, we will be doing this at Autodesk University, but also PARS, an amazing partner of ours, and, in such an important market for all of the industry in Latin America. So today we'll be talking about four different topics, all related. So first we'll just do a general overview of what is a Matterport digital twin and what does the platform look like. Then we will dive into our integration, Matterport's integration with Autodesk Construction Cloud and the power of collaboration that it can bring you. Then we'll dive in a little bit into, what Matterport, ACC, and AutoCAD Plant 3D can do for helping to design and manage your facilities out there. And then lastly, but also very importantly, we'll be hearing from PARS in a real life case study as to how documentation and coordination and collaboration really lend to asset management and help make managing facilities a much simpler and clearer process later on. So jumping right in from Matterport Digital Twin, hopefully you've heard of Matterport before and what a digital twin is, but if not, no worries, we'll just have a little quick refresher here. The key is that all these programs and platforms that we're talking about today are great by themselves, but they're even better together when used in tandem for a project. So we will be highlighting those different ways. Technology always brings new innovation and ways to do things. And on this slide here, you'll just see a couple of different stats. Traditional methods versus digital twins. So, challenges facing the market that has been sort of evergreen throughout the last couple of years and several decades, actually, is that a lot of the data that goes on that is captured now in construction sites and engineering industries, it goes unused. So we've been leaning towards capturing more and more and gathering more and more information and data, but it's not often always used and leveraged in a very quick and easy way to inform projects, right? A lot of rework out there is caused by miscommunication and poor project data. Despite all that data we're collecting, again, if it's not used properly, it can still, unfortunately, lead to rework. And ultimately, when you have a lot of rework, you have a lot of increased project costs, whether it's direct or indirect. And so these are all different challenges. It doesn't matter if you're building a hospital or if you're building a school, or if you're building a skyscraper. Everyone across the industry definitely feels these pain points throughout the day. Now, by leveraging digital twins, we've seen companies across the world, Fortune 1000, Fortune 250 companies, down to 5-person firms, see these a myriad of these wonderful outcomes. You can save on your travel and site visits by 53% in the cost. It takes 30% less time to complete projects, and you can improve your sustainability by 24%. And all this is because of the improved collaboration, really understanding of the projects at hand. So as I mentioned earlier, by adopting digital twin technology, you can reduce your errors, minimize costs, access your sites more readily and easily, And ultimately, all those add up to saving time on your projects, which comes back full circle to saving costs and being able to close out projects in a faster way as well. So what is a digital twin? I've used that term a little bit, aka quite a lot over the last 5 minutes. So it's really a visually immersive, interactive, and accurate 3D model of a space at any stage of the building life cycle. So whether you're in architecture, engineering, or construction, I'm not going to read the whole slide here, but you can see you can save time and reduce costs. It can continue to visit sites. You don't always have to rely on someone else to get the information that you need to move a project forward. And ultimately, you can identify risks earlier. You can identify problem areas so that you can solve the problems and build faster in a safer way as well. So a digital twin is really exactly what the term means. Typically, everybody in this audience here is dealing with some sort of physical building, some sort of physical space. Now, out there in new technology land, people are always wondering, how can I control that space remotely, right? How do I know more information? Now, the basis behind merging the physical building and controllability is the importance of having a digital twin, and that is literally a digital replica of that physical space. So the idea is that you were able to create a bi-dimensional flow of information between physical and your desktop or your mobile phone. This, of course, the more complicated and more advanced users out there will be then diving more into using controllability and IoT technology. But what we're here really talking about to talk about today is building that digital twin and being able to capture assets of that physical space and being able to leverage those in your process as you're designing facilities, especially complex facilities like manufacturing plants. To get a digital twin, it all comes down to being able to capture and document a space. Reality capture is, just like the term suggests, it's capturing what is existing in reality. You want to be able to collaborate, take that information, that data that I was talking about earlier, and be able to share with other people what you've captured, be able to communicate in effective and very sharp manner that is both visual and direct to your various project stakeholders. And ultimately, you want to be able to integrate it into the existing technology that you've already invested in. If you've already bought Autodesk products such as AutoCAD, Revit, etc., Autodesk Construction Cloud, it's very important that you're able to more seamlessly connect to those tools and continue your workflow. Digital twins should not be disrupting your workflow. It should only be making it easier to do your work. So it's important to note, we often hear, well, it's not a, super high-end terrestrial scanner. How can I trust what's coming out of it? But it really comes down to being able to properly identify what is the job at hand. What are you trying to do with your project? Are you trying to just understand what the site is? Are you trying to understand what is at the site? Or are you trying to create civil engineering drawings to the millimeter of where the pipe dimension is? These are all very different use cases. They all require some type of scanning, but it's important to know that there are faster options out there. Here's just a little diagram of what is supported on a Matterport digital twin platform. Myriad of products down to, if you want closer to survey grade technology, or if you want just something that is accurate, reliable, and trustworthy. There are different abilities out there, and it's important to match the right one to your project. So the high-end terrestrial laser scanners are fantastic. They capture so much information, so much data. But let's think about that 95% of unused data I was mentioning earlier. A lot of that 95% of unused data takes a lot of time to capture. Each rotation is very tedious. If you accidentally move the camera, the wind is shifting, you have to rescan again. Here on screen is a real-time live example of how fast a Matterport Pro 3 LiDAR scanner can scan. So you can just imagine how much more efficient even the capturing process can be in creating your digital twin. It's coupled with LiDAR scanning, so you get that accuracy that is wanted for a site survey project, but then it's also layered on top of the amazing 4K imagery that is Matterport is synonymous with. Once you capture that digital twin, that's physical space in a digital version, in a virtual version, it's important to be able to, again, tie it back into your workflow. So one of the great benefits of a digital twin is being able to extract out actual file exports, CAD files, DWG, DXF files. If you are a higher power user, higher-end power user, and you'd like to work with point clouds yourself, you can get high density E57 files or even XYZ files. All are, vendor neutral, can be converted for you to bring into your Autodesk workflows. And ultimately, you can even get something as complex as a BIM file in an RVT or IFC format. So it's important, again, to help jumpstart the process. Share the information that you're gathering as fast as possible so your stakeholders aren't waiting for you, but they can also trust that they're getting the accurate information. Once you share that information, it's important to collaborate over that information. So it's faster and more cost-effective to be able to share and collaborate over an existing BIM file. You can improve your communications using Autodesk Construction Cloud, existing tools out there. And now Matterport has this wonderful integration that allows the users of Autodesk Build and Autodesk Docs to be able to actually tag RFIs and raise issues within the Matterport Showcase walkthrough. We'll dive more into this later in the conversation, but these are just different ways to help, again, link all your different workflows together. So I mentioned our suite of Autodesk products. We want to definitely highlight the power of these. Likely you already own licenses for, AutoCAD, Revit, Docs and Build, or BIM 360. But it's important to note that, now once you try a Matterport scan, you can also integrate that into these wonderful Autodesk products. You can pull in CAD files, you can pull in BIM files, you can use the same platform and use the same UI that Autodesk Construction Cloud has already set up to be able to coordinate your projects. So what is that streamlined collaboration really mean? Matterport and Autodesk have quite a few integration points. It's really about, again, capturing your data, being able to process that data. And once you process that data, it's also important for everyone out there to know that you own the data. We're not here to steal any technology or whatever. It's really just making sure that we are giving you as much power in your project making and project management process as possible. You're able to generate from one digital twin all these various different file types, E57, XYZ, OBJ, if you're in 3D modeling land, the materiality file and MTLs, the list goes on and on. Now, with those, you can then easily filter into your Autodesk Construction Cloud selection of software. And that's where the magic really happens. That's where the synergy happens between ACC and Matterport to be able to give you that additional leverage and communication to really set you apart from the various other companies out there who might be bidding for projects and trying to establish a more direct connection with various clients as well. Now, you've heard a lot from me about Matterport and ACC, but I'd love to be able to turn it over to Jeremy to actually really give a much better overview of what ACC can entail as well.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Again, my name is Jeremy. I've been with the Autodesk Construction Cloud team for about 5 years now. And when we refer to Autodesk Construction Cloud, that's three things working in conjunction with one another. Autodesk BIM Collaborate, that helps design teams in particular. Autodesk Takeoff, which allows construction teams to get and generate takeoff packages from the 2D sheets or 3D models that exist inside of Autodesk Construction Cloud. And then Autodesk Build, which is typically used during the construction phase of a project and gives team members and project teams access to everything and anything that they need to go and complete their project, their 3D models, their 2D sheets, issues, RFIs, and so forth, many of which is interconnected with Matterport. But all of this is underpinned by Autodesk Docs, so that those drawings, models, documents, all of the data that flows throughout the entire construction process is usable and accessible between each of these three solutions, BIM Collaborate, Takeoff, and Build. So again, when we talk about Autodesk Construction Cloud, that's these three things: BIM, collaborate, take off, and build, being used in conjunction with one another. That's ultimately underpinned by Autodesk Docs. We also have a few different features and capabilities around reporting and dashboards. Matterport, for example, can be embedded directly within our Autodesk Build Insights dashboard. So those digital twins and walkthroughs can be used and embedded alongside all of the other information that is collected and housed inside of Autodesk Construction Cloud. We saw on the previous slide how many different connections there are between Matterport and Autodesk, and that's largely because there are a lot of good synergies between our two solutions throughout the entire construction lifecycle.
Absolutely. And we've been so lucky because Autodesk has already set up this amazing platform. So, on Matterport side, it was very obvious this is where we needed to connect to. So, it's been great to be able to see that type of development continue to foster as well.
Very good. So when, again, Autodesk Construction Cloud, BIM Collaborate, Takeoff, Build, underpinned by Docs, it's used throughout the entire construction life cycle. So that's design, plan, construction, and then operate, right? So 3D model can be conditioned in BIM Collaborate. We have different solutions that allow contractors to go manage their bids, send out invitations to bid, and then, of course, take all of that out in Autodesk Build during the construction phase of the project. And speaking of Autodesk Build, you'll see here, next slide, please, Stephanie. You'll see here a couple of the more widely used features and workflows within Autodesk Build. A couple of them I want to highlight include management models. So again, where customers have the ability to take their model throughout the entire construction lifecycle. It's stored within Autodesk Docs and can be published in a set of drawings so that team members in the field have access to those 2D sheets or the 3D environment quite literally at their fingertips. It gives team members both in the field and in the office the ability to create and manage issues and RFIs, collaborate with one another with the spatial context from Matterport as an example, alongside those issues and RFIs. But to really drive home, Autodesk Build is a highly collaborative environment that is used by general contractors, subcontractors, owners, and architects as they work with their construction project. And again, has very good synergies and integration points between Matterport so that team members can ultimately reduce the amount of rework that they have, make sure that they have their 3D models, and ultimately go out and complete their projects efficiently, on time, and under budget.
Absolutely. And it's really about being able to, as Jeremy mentioned, being able to minimize that rework. It's all the different stakeholders that are already using ACC are using it as a central hub for all the documents. And so what Matterport brings with the reality capture piece is that three-dimensional realm. It's really democratizing site access across all the different teams and all the different players so that everyone is using the same amount is being able to access the same amount of information at the same amount of time. And being moving forward beyond actually just the design and construction process also is on the last side, you see the last bottom right hand side, you see the words facility management. And it's really, that's super important because, we all know the building life cycle. It's not just what we physically see going up, floor by floor or, room by room. It's really about how do we maintain that building? How are we being sustainable also in maintaining that building? How are we being efficient and making sure that everybody is safe and running properly as well? So, just to recap, there's a lot of benefits out there for AEC professionals, whether you're a subcontractor, general contractor, an architect, or an engineer. It's really about reducing your errors and reducing the risk. It's enabling that real-time collaboration. As you can see, there's in the digital twin, it's an incredibly lifelike 4K imagery representation of the space, but the ability to actually embed in key documentation in one space, and that pairs together with the documentation that you might be uploading to Autodesk Construction Cloud as well. And finally, the most important thing is knowing that all that information is secure in the way that you're sharing, and you can have the controls as a company or as an administrator to decide who you want to share with and when you want to share with them as well. So what does this mean? And what does all of this have to do with Plant 3D? So in general, it's about making sure that your documentation process is great and accurate, and you can share with everybody out there. There's this great quote from Siemens. This is a very large company out there who does do and manage quite a lot of facilities and complex facilities out there. But I just want to kind of focus on the bold text there is like understanding the context of what is physically all around the location. So whether or not you're building a single-story residential house, or you are managing in a incredibly complex space like you might see in this image to the right here, it's important to know what is around you and where all the pieces and different pieces of the puzzle. How do you track the various complex elements and assets that are going through the site? These are all different ways that you can leverage this technology of a digital twin together with Autodesk Construction Cloud to maintain that collaboration. To support your industrial projects out there, there's a lot of different use cases. We talked a lot about streamlining your workflows, but really about, within a digital twin also, because we are now leveraging also, previously it was IR technology, now it's LiDAR technology, you're able to extract out measurements to help you gain, quick insight into, is this new machinery equipment going to fit? If I need to shut down part of the plant in order to retrofit the space, how would I plan that out? If I have new team members and engineers that I need to bring onto site, how do I get them familiar with the site without crowding the space? These are all different ways that the technology can help supplement and really increase the efficiency as to how you approach these complex projects. You can capture these complex environments by even extracting out incredibly detailed BIM models, as you see here. This is actually a Matterport BIM model created from a Matterport digital twin. So you can see the, down to the details, where the piping, where the safety stairs, where the tracks. That is important to be able to share so that everyone knows what is on site at this point in time. How many of you out there have, been assigned a project or been awarded a project, and all the drawings that were handed over to you were at least 10 years out of date, or even if they're only 1 year out of date? Changes happen often in the complex facility as well. So you want to make sure that you have the latest information available at hand for you. And as we talked about, capturing those existing conditions, you can directly modify and denote and write and share what is happening on site. What's an area of interest for you? By having this kind of real life capture and virtual tour, you're able to shave time off of your documentation process and really facilitate how quickly you can get design iterations back too, for even your internal stakeholder approvals. What is the CEO going to say? And then how are they going to present it to the end client as well? These are all important ways of communication that can be facilitated with the digital twin. So Plant 3D is an existing program that Autodesk has put out with AutoCAD for many, many years. And over the years, they've also, so graciously already created wonderful workflows of linking Plant 3D to Revit and ACC as well. So with Matterport in the mix, it's really just 4 simple steps. First, you scan with the Matterport, you get that digital twin. Secondly, you get that BIM file, the one that we saw just 2 slides back. Get that complex space modeled from the digital twins. Have confidence that you are using the latest and greatest in terms of design work files to work off of. And then be able to push that BIM file, and even be able to push that BIM file to Autodesk Construction Cloud. So you can actually actively share and make sure all the stakeholders in the project have the same files that you have. And ultimately then pull back into Plant 3D. So Plant 3D does have that direct connection to Autodesk Construction Cloud. So make sure that, everybody across all the different stakeholders, all your engineering firms are using the same, the latest and greatest. And some different ways you can also, Plant 3D, you can use in Autodesk Construction Cloud, and specifically BIM 360, you can use file compare, you can use the markup tool. You can then also leverage the integrations to mark up your issues and RFIs out there. And even again, Autodesk has done such a great job of connecting their own systems. You can use Plant 3D and Revit in that Matterport BIM file to start to, redesign and use the PNID connector out there to get those complex new elements into your design model for this facility. And, this is all important because it all comes down to asset management. Why do you need accurate design files? Why do you need accurate BIM files? Why do you need an accurate digital twin? And why do you need to collaborate on it? Because everybody needs to know what is going on site. Again, the building life cycle, it's more than just the design and build. It's about what and how is the space being used on a day-to-day basis. So leveraging the ability to get all those elements, your latest Plant 3D design drawings, put that into and share that with Autodesk Build. There's the asset module that, many engineers and, which we'll dive into in the next session with PARS, leverage on the day-to-day basis to know what's going on site. It's really about creating and being able to organize those assets as well, centralizing that tracking for that lifecycle management. And then really, again, being able to democratize all that data. So there's field access to the asset data as well. And as I mentioned, why just hear it as a little didactic lecture, but let's hear it in action. Let's hear from Vinny talk about how PARS has been leveraging the technology to inform this type of important, complex asset management process as well.
And it's amazing how integrating technologies and getting reality capture into our project brings a new horizon of possibilities. That's why I would like to share with you how we're able to redefine building and assets management workflow using Matterport and Autodesk Construction Cloud. FDE is an institution linked to the government of São Paulo. It's responsible for supporting and developing educational policies, managing resources, and promoting improvements in the infrastructure of state public schools. So the focus of their service and product is public schools. The next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. They are responsible for the management of something like 5,000 schools, and they report problems to keep a cohesive and understanding of the exact location and subject of issues and requests for information. So their major problem is that when they try to identify an issue, and everyone on each school, they need someone to visit the place and takes pictures and send emails and try to write it down, and this information is lost. They are not in track. And there also another problem that was informed for us from them, that is getting a maintenance request. It's kind of messy because sometimes when you're trying to identify what you need to do and what assets you need to include in your maintenance plan, sometimes you get the wrong idea of the status. So malfunction is different from not working. Not working it's what you need to focus and go there and do the maintenance. So this was very problematic. And another point that it was very clear to us that there was a real problem. It was that when you talk about engineering, build documentation and design, it's not the same. You need to do a comparison and do this as build documentation, so you keep sure that every information that you're bringing to your company and for the future projects, it's precise. So to bring a solution to FDE problem, we've shown how Matterport can bring context connection by integrating data with Construction Cloud. So the idea is, you're all gonna see me repeating something that was already said in this presentation, but this is very great, so you can see how we're just applying everything that was said. Reality capture allowed us to capture information, physical information as data information, so we can feedback to the design process. We use this reality capture to do an issue indication through a Autodesk Construction Cloud add-on on Matterport environment. Then we sync it to the issue environment on Autodesk Construction Cloud. So this information is synced, and then I can position in the model. So this is very great. What I'm talking about is that in the reality capture, we can point out something, and I can go in the model, in 3D model, and point the exactly same location. So I'm looking information and in both ways. This is amazing. And finally, I can retrieve a report from that, so I can document it and be sure that when I plan this on the cost management, I know exactly what I'm doing in every and each issue. Getting a BIM model from Capture is possible through the Matterport service that was already shown. And with that, we can take advantage of version comparison from Construction Cloud. So version comparison allows us to have this color identification to what was added, removed, or changed between versions. This is really good. So I now have the ability to search for specific issues in a way faster method. So I can point it out changes from my as-built project, then comparing my as-built project with the design. So this is really great, because those moments when a designer and engineer, you get this project request and goes something like, yeah, you have this new project that we have been planning. Don't worry, it would be a copy, exact copy of that previous project that we have already built. Well, long story short, there are already a lot of deviations between this as built and this design project, and which will propagate not only for this project, but every single one of the project that use this as reference. So you see, this tool, this integration allows us to really perceive our project as it is built. This is amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, we often, when Vinny and I were planning these slides, we were talking about how many times have you been told, oh, like you said, this is that copy, and it never is. There's always a 10% difference, which means, all your facilities are going to be shifted. Your elevator needs to be different. Everything, in the end, your piping is different. So it's never just that. It's, as Homer says, it's like, yeah. Give it up. Keep going.
Yes, exactly like that. But here on this video, we can see how is the process of using the Construction Cloud add-on on Matterport environment. So you navigate to the right location, you select Add Issue or a request for information, you point it out, and you input the title, the status, the type, and the description. The idea here is that you are not only filling the description for Matterport add-on, but also all this information will be carried out to Construction Cloud. As soon as you hit create, you're gonna see that a new window from Construction Cloud will be popped, and now we have everything that we filled in that issue here now in Construction Cloud. On the next video, you're gonna see that I can keep the information on Construction Cloud and position this tag on the 3D model, on BIM model. This is exactly what we was saying before. It's the next video, Stephanie.
Sorry, I was clicking the next button in the video.
Yeah, no problem. For one moment, I thought that was the right one. So here I'm selecting the model that needs that would be referenced, and as soon as I click the model, the model will show up. And now I can navigate. And with this interface, I can select it exactly in the same location that I was pointed out in the virtual tour. This is good. This is what I mean by truly integration between softwares. Like you see, I'm not trying to filling the same information that I already have used in Matterport. This is really the content being linked, truly linked between 3D capture, 3D model, and reality capture. Yeah. Well, so this is how we really have a way to use the information that we have been talking about to fill in the gaps and solve the challenges that I've said before that FDA was bringing to us. So on Construction Cloud, like I said, we have this ability to position the information that was shown in the 3D, it was reviewed in 3D and the reality capture. But now, when we saw this at asset managed perspective, what we are saying is that having a as-built documentation playing this big part on our workflows, this is why this is so important, because now I can be more assertive about everything that I'm saying about this project, just because I include reality. I'm going to the end of the physical project, because all projects begins as digital. So we design it, then we deliver it, and what we need to do is now to bring back this information, because we understand that on site some changes must be made, because we need to deliver the building, we need to deliver the asset. So the idea is not trying to lock the design to be built as exactly as what it was proposed. In fact, what we are proposing here is to learn from as built and become better designers. This is what we're saying. And the response from FDE was amazing, because they see a lot of potential and value from this new workflow. And at the first indicator, we have a really decrease of variable costs, because with a virtual tour, in case of any question from anywhere, they were able to revisit the school. So there's no need to send someone else to do the same exactly job that someone had already done with the camera, with the laser camera. And imagine to manage more than 5,000 buildings, to be efficient is a challenge. With a better comprehension of the asset status, and it allowed them to have a more productive maintenance plans. And as an institution linked to the government, you can imagine how transparency is important. So now I have a detailed report on every and each asset, and I can just point it out with my plane exactly where I'm spending my budget. And with a continuous use of this technology, they will improve and be more assertive on planning, decreasing costs, and improving quality perception of their work.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Vinny. It's really incredible, just all the different ways and seeing it live in your FDE example as to how reality capture and how Autodesk Construction Cloud can work so seamlessly together to do exactly what you were talking about, is not locking design into a point in time, but really knowing that design is an ever-evolving thing. It's impossible to know, what the site context is if you can't see the site all the time, right? And so this is really where that reality capture comes into hand in hand to help you go across, not only helping you understand what type of as-built condition you're stepping into. How do you adjust to the conditions for construction? How do you be efficient in the construction process with your collaboration, your communication via issues in RFIs? And ultimately, for the rest of the building life cycle, how do you maintain it? How do you make sure that those who you are handing the project over to, the owners, the operators, they're not calling you at 3 a.m. with a problem. They can be confident that they know exactly where to go for the closeout data, the specification sheets and the warranty manuals, etc. All these are different ways on top of, you know, the Matterport and Autodesk construction platforms that allow you to just be more efficient and on top of your game in your day-to-day job. And of course, there is a very last bullet point on the right, which is, hey, once you're done, not all projects get that fancy professional photographer budget. So why not leverage that amazing 4K technology that's coming out of a digital twin at the end and slap the project on your website, be proud about it, put it into your presentations and talk more about it, because guess what? You already have that amazing imagery to be able to do a standout presentation. So it's really about, again, about optimizing how you manage your project. So whether you're in design and project management, you're in the early stage of a project, if you're collaboration documentation, you could be just a site coordinator and still gain leverage, gain value from leveraging Matterport platforms. Or if you're in facilities management and operations and you're responsible for that day-to-day, you know, making sure that building runs as smoothly as a well-oiled machine, because essentially that is what it is. It's housing many, many machines and you want them all to work together. These are all different ways that you can leverage reality capture and Autodesk Construction Cloud together. And once you do that, then you can really unlock and achieve key project KPIs across the globe. So you can decrease your travel time and overall travel costs. Your T&E budget's going to go down. Your CFO is going to love you for it. Yours, you know, BIM file creations. Time and time again, we've heard from people out there that by being able to leverage a Matterport digital twin and the BIM file, they're able to save 70%, up to 70% on creating those BIM files. You can reduce by 30% those costs and time savings because you're talking better with each other. I always joked, you know, back when I was designing skyscrapers and overseeing the building of them, to now even my job, most of my job is about translating English to English. And so that's because you can say the same words, but people hear different things. But when you have a visual product like Matterport, and you have the collaboration tools that Matterport and ACC and even Plant 3D can give you, that's where you're starting to see the savings and time really shape down. And this means you can, you know, add up to 75% of resolving your issues, your project issues without escalation. What do I mean by escalations? Well, you know, you can avoid needing to punch a new hole in the concrete before you after you've poured it, to, you know, maybe you need to run some additional piping or trunking. There's all these different types of escalations that you can avoid, because you know what, who wants to get in trouble? So let's just do it right the first time. So some key takeaways here is by leveraging digital twin technology from Matterport and Autodesk Construction Cloud, whether you're using Plant 3D, something as specific as Plant 3D, or you're just using AutoCAD, it's about allowing people to have continual access to limited access spaces. Manufacturing plants, you know, mechanical rooms, all these very complex spaces, or even simple spaces undergoing demolition, they can be very difficult to access, not because it's hard to drive to them or it's hard to fly to them. It's because there's so much on site. As you see in the little video here, it can be dangerous for people, too many people to be on site. So by having a twin, you can actually access it at any point in time. If you choose to work at 3 a.m. because your baby kept you awake before all the hours before that, you can. If you want to work at 6 a.m. because that's when you prefer to get up and run and, you know, do your work, you can do that. In this case, faster is better. You're getting your information faster. You're getting accurate information faster. You're able to make decisions faster, and you're able to close out that project faster. Everybody wants more work, right? So how do you do that? You make sure that you are streamlining your work process so that you can get things done faster and then move on to the next thing as well. You can enhance your proposals and execute design and BIM modeling a lot faster as well. As Vinny highlighted, you know, it's so important to be able to really link up all your different elements in a project. You can link the digital twin, you can link, you know, specifications, you can link your BIM files. So it's all actual sharing and not just overlaying, but you're truly sharing between all these different platforms. And in the end, by doing all these things, you're helping to achieve your own project KPIs. KPI is a very not technical, tech industry term too. So if you're not in the tech industry, what does that mean? It means you're meeting your goals that your boss probably told you needed to set at the beginning of the year. So you want to make sure you're doing that in a very efficient manner. And why not do it in a very visual manner at the same time? Because guess what? The building industry, it is a visual industry, and we want to make sure we're representing ourselves the best way possible. So thank you so much for, coming and listening to us. If you have any questions, and if you're, if you have any questions, please feel free to scan the QR code here. And if you are AIA, feel free to sign on to this URL here to input your information for a learning unit. Thank you so much again. And I'm so, so grateful to Jeremy and Vinny for the amazing information they've been able to share with us today.